Welcome back. Hi, so today I have a really hot topic for you, and I hope this helps a little bit because it's really affects us ladies an awful lot. With women that are age group 50 to 64, we are the fastest group of economically active, it's fastest growing economic group in the whole of the UK out of all age group are women 50 to 64. So it's important that we understand how, if we are going to work with people who are in menopause, how that is going to affect them and how we can assist and help them, or if it's happening to us, then each other. Okay, so there'll be around 1 in 5 who have no symptoms whatsoever or don't realize that they've got symptoms. But for many other people, they are showing symptoms and they know they've got it. We know we've got it. Okay, so, and 1 in 4 ladies consider leaving their job during the peri and the menopausal stage. That is huge. It is absolutely huge. And the reasons being, I will tell you in a minute, but to replace somebody, to recruit for more people, to train somebody, to fill in the gap while that person leaves, to sort out their packages, to sort out everything, it can cost up to around £30,000 to replace somebody in employment because of the menopause. So it's better if we can all work and start to understand how we can progress forward as the UK by helping women and being the solution rather than the problem at that time. So let's look at what sort of barriers that women come across. Extreme fatigue, that is huge. And I see it a lot, because we not only have the working day to acknowledge, we have some people have commuting to work, long distance, they have the extra work, the prep, the planning, preparation after work. And if you're not getting the right balance of that, then your symptoms can be hugely exaggerated. So the fatigue, the hot flushes, the embarrassment of the hot flushes when you're in a meeting and nobody knows or understands. Just dealing with the different temperatures if you work in an office and you've got people who like the heating on and your office workplace is overheated. The hot flushes, the skin crawling, the head fog, the fog of not knowing some days what you're doing. It can come over you as a kind of black mood, or it can just come across you as a mild forgetfulness and not even knowing what your colleague's name is. Sometimes it can be so bad up to that point. We know it's not just about losing your car keys. It's not just about forgetting the appointment at the doctor's. It's so much more than that. It's so much more in depth. And we need to obviously have the full cognitive space working right in work, because we have such great responsibilities of other people around us possibly, or other things, and to hold down our livelihood. So it's absolutely huge that we really do look at acting, thinking about the word act, accepting and committing to take action on ourselves during this time. Otherwise, it is likely, very likely, that you'd rather quit your job. And I have seen this a lot as a personal trainer dealing with women at this time. And so often, because women have been working at such a high performance level, that they feel that they cannot work at that high performance level during this time. So the only other alternative is to walk away from the job and forget their career and move away. Do hand in their notice and even forgo like the rights of pensions and things like that, because the pressure has been too great, you know. And I always advise anyone who's feeling that at the moment, stop, take a holiday. If you work for somebody else, and I know this is really difficult, and I know there's going to be a whole backlash of people going, don't be silly girl, I can't take a holiday. But it's an either or. When you reach that point that you feel you can't stand it, you can't cope anymore, and you are crying of an evening when you come home from work, then there's only one thing that you can and should do, and that is to stop and take that break. You call in work, regardless of responsibilities, and take that break, take that breather. That will stop you walking away immediately. It will give you time to think whether you really want to carry on in this situation, or whether it is the crunch time for you to change. But you don't have to change. You don't have to change your job. You just have to change you and the way that we look at these things. And we've got to do it. There isn't any other answer at this point, you know. So we have to accept, we have to look at how we can rearrange our workload. So let's look at how we can do that. Let's look at the positives, because there are many, many positives that we can do, and find that actually we should have worked like this many years ago. So you're going to, number one, you're going to manage your stress at work at that time. So how can you do that? You're going to work to your strengths. So you know your energy, your peak energy levels when they come in. You can sort of keep a diary on those to understand where it is in the day that you feel a real dip. And I'll tell you, for one, that I used to train people from 6:30, and by 11 a.m. I would need a morning nap. Now, in the situation that I am in, sometimes I would be able to do that, because I would start to work my diary around that. I understood that I would need an hour break at 11 a.m. and I would just close my eyes and get a power nap in that time. It may not be possible for you to do that in this time, but you can work to your strengths. So if you think like the morning is your big energy core, it may not for you. It may be the afternoon. You might feel really sluggish, head fog in the morning, feel like you need to clear that out and then get going. So during that time, it may be that you do the smaller tasks, the ones that you know you can't slip up with. It may be that you're opening your emails, that you're managing your emails and opening those, instead of what we call eating the frog. So what I mean by that, so you're going to work to your strengths in the morning. I kind of do this, let me just use an analogy, a sort of thing for you on this. If I'm working in the garden and I know I'm getting back into it, it's springtime, I haven't done it for a long time, then I'll go in, I'll do a kind of warm up in my garden. I will, sort of cut some bushes, the big things that need doing. Then I'll go into the digging. Then when they get a bit tired of the digging, I'll go on the kneeling, weeding. Then I'll come back up, bit more digging. Then I will go on to the deadheading of roses. So if you work that in your work day, so for example, in my work day is training a client early. I've got good energy then. It then means that I do the morning session. When it comes to the midday session, I eat lunch, try to take that little bit of a break while I'm eating the lunch, take time out, put phones down, do not look at phones. That is your time to give yourself a bit of a brain dump at that time. It might be a time that you could go for a walk, a little walk in that time to refresh energy. If you know there's no way that you can take the rest, and it might make you slump further if you did, then this is the time to get out in the fresh air, go sit on a park bench, eat your lunch, and come back into the office or wherever it is, into the environment where you know you're fresh, and you can give that little burst again maybe, and then do the deadheading as you work towards the end of the day. That might be the planning for the next day. And that's what I would really focus on doing, is like, as you come into that time, you know that the work you've had has had the best of you for that day. So the best thing to do is to plan for the next day, plan the big things for the next day there as you're going on. So you're going to work to your strengths. You're going to eat the frog at the best time of the day. Eating the frog means doing your biggest task at the best time of the day for your energy levels. So you're going to eat that frog at whichever is the best time for you, and eat it first, okay? So that you get that out of the way. You've ticked that box, that you've achieved something really great on that day. You haven't procrastinated on the big stuff. You've got that done. It's important to get that done, because mentally that is the one that you know that you're going to stress over, lose sleep over later on. So get that one done. You're going to choose to manage your project time, the best time for you. So the project time, you know, those times that somebody says to you, so when do you think you're going to have that done by? Do not give yourself a short time zone on that. Give it short enough so that you know you're going to get the job done, but don't give yourself the stress. It's like the basic things even outside of that. So if somebody, you know, if you book the babysitter for when you get home, or you know, when you have a babysitter, maybe you've got kids later on, and you book a babysitter, or you book somebody and you an appointment in, and you know that you're going to have a 15-minute window to get there. You know, refrain from doing things like that. Make sure that you're giving yourself a good half-hour prep time before each meeting that you go to, depending on, of course, on the size of the meeting. But if you have started to close down to 15 minutes and you feel like you're getting stressed, then come on, open that window up again and expand it so that you are getting that time to prep or get home or get to the next meeting without feeling stressed. Start to really focus on that. That is highly important, to cut down your stress, because we know that will have an impact on your sleep. We know that along with hot flushes and everything else is going to really impair you. So think about, as we said, the movement. Get up, move. Think about choosing your meetings. Choosing your meetings at the beginning of the week, or the end of the week, when you're planning for the next week. Have a look. If you know you've got 100 appointments in work, out of work, based around the family on this day, do not put your biggest meeting in. If you know that you've got space further on in the week, if you think that you weaken towards the end of the week, then put your big meetings in earlier in the week, but don't bank them all in at once. Sometimes you're better than trying to jump on board and convert somebody in a meeting to buy from your company or whatever it is, delaying it a week than rushing it, squeezing it in and not giving a good performance or presentation. If it's said that you have to do the presentation on this said day, then check the other meetings, the mediocre stuff, put it to the side and focus on the biggest meeting that you have got. The one that's going to bring that money in for the company, whatever it is, bring that sale in, going to make the biggest impact on your business's life. So that one. So don't forget to ask for help. That's the next one. So ask for help when you need it. Be open, be transparent, go to head of HR or whoever it is in your company, ask for a private meeting, go in there, tell them how you're feeling, tell them what impact, be transparent. They have to know. Women make up over half the workforce in the UK. So it's important that these people who are over you are going to come across this time and time again, and everybody needs to know that we can't go on any longer hiding behind the computers and crying, basically, when we get to that point, feeling so tired, out of sorts. Don't forget to think about the health wrapped around that day as well. So managing your food, taking it into work with you is really, really paramount. Not skipping meals. When I used to cater for people in the office work environment, it would always be the 4 o'clock slump. But think about the good quality snack that you can have at that time. Maybe banana and a handful of like some nuts, or it may be just one piece of rye bread with the good quality peanut butter on it, or a piece of fruit and some protein nuts or seeds, that type of thing to go with that. Other things that you may like, think about things that aren't going to spike your energy levels and then drop you down quickly. Think things that are going to see you out, get you home. Check in with your water from the moment you, all day, have that water bottle on your desk to make sure that you are well hydrated. You know that a well hydrated body and brain and mind is going to be the best way to see you through any day and really help you on that way. So be prepared. So do your forward planning, get ahead with that. Try and structure your week properly. Don't let somebody else lead it. You structure it, you take hold of it, and you lead it and move forward on that. So review the sort of tasks that you have on a regular basis. So kind of do your housekeeping on your appointments, do your housekeeping on your laptop to make sure that, you know, certain emails you might not need to receive anymore and you're not going to waste your time on those. These are things that you're probably doing anyway in your day-to-day, but because it's all going out of sync now, the things that we need to remind ourselves. So have yourself a checklist. Get yourself a whiteboard in front of you and a checklist so that you can go through things one by one and be sure that you keep in that regular order every single week. The more that we have control over our day, the better we're going to feel about it. Try to work from home if that's possible, when you can, if that's the way that you want to do it. Approach your boss, tell him you want to work from home. If you work from home when you've got that excess fatigue that you may have, or you have, if you're just feeling anxiety and you need to calm down. Often see it as well when you're in a lot of meetings on Skype or Zoom and you have this sort of brain battering feeling that where you've been listening to a lot of words all the time. So I try to plan my week around that as well, so that if I'm got a lot of one-on-ones, then I'll then come away, switch to some screen time where I'm creating and get my creativity over. I won't go from screen time to listening to podcast, from talking to somebody on a session to then going on podcast where I'm learning and researching for work, because it's too many words. I'll go from chatting to someone to then creativity, putting it on paper, putting it down, and moving on. Likewise, if I'm on screen time a lot, then I'm not going to stay on screen time researching. I get up and I do research, maybe walking on a podcast and listen to voices on that. So think about how you can structure and use the tools of the internet to help and assist you at work without being totally focused in one direction. We're so versatile out there for learning and being able to plan our work. So try and have the balance there. It's having the balance on what takes your brain power time up as well. So I hope this helps. I'm going to go much more in depth. I'm going to do a complete week course on this so that we can really get to the bottom of it, because I know that was huge for me. Still is, but I feel I've got the balance in it now. I have had to do that. And you will eventually get there. You really will. But don't let that affect your health while you are trying to get yourself in order. So have a great time. Drop me a message. Just let me know how you've got on about that. The other thing I suggest is getting out early before work. I know you're probably so tired, but getting out before work, giving yourself that boost of energy by a low interval impact training, just 15, 20 minutes, or a yoga sequence, a yoga flow. And so that's going to be on today's thing, a yoga flow or a low interval impact training, a low impact interval training session. So I'm going to put those two on today for you to do. You can choose which one works best for you to do in the morning before work. Getting up early, just setting that alarm, start to do it just 20 minutes earlier and probably maximize on 40 minutes earlier so that you can get that out of bed, flow, go and get ready, shower, work, whatever it is. I hope this helps, and I will see you tomorrow for day 7.